Welcome to I Love Manchester, our guide to the successes and secrets of our city. This is where much of Manchester's cool history originated, where Manchester bands like the Smiths, the Stone Roses, Oasis's Gallagher Brothers and characters from the internationally acclaimed film 24-Hour Party People hung out.
The Northern Quarter's changed loads. I actually went there, literally as soon as I was legal to drink. I actually went to Dry Bar on Oldham Street. It was during the whole Manchester Revolution, and it was the place that everybody went. Where
followers of the Manchester scene shopped, and where fashion labels like Red or Dead started out.
Because that used to be an absolute toilet round there. You know, you'd never go, if your taxi dropped you down there, you'd be scared to death. But now it's like New York.
It's edgy, diverse, quirky, full of character, and definitely one of the coolest quarters in Manchester.
It's probably approaching a totally new era. I think those days of it being run down are more or less over.
The Northern Quarter is just a stone's throw away from the main shopping area in the city centre, but here you won't find large retail and leisure chains. It has its own sense of individuality and is crammed with independent shops and businesses. It's the place to come if you want the trendy bars, fashion boutiques, unique arts, crafts and creatives in Manchester. It has also attracted some top film and television producers. Part of the remake of the 1966 cult classic Alfie starring Jude Law was shot here when they turned the Northern Quarter into a mock-up of downtown New York. And if you were a fan of the hit series Cutting It, then you may recognise this place because it was what they used for the hairdressers. What gives this place such character is the Victorian buildings. It was the central trading area back in Victorian times, the heart of the Industrial Revolution in Manchester. Just imagine here on these streets would have been bustling with traders from dawn until dusk, and many of the old market buildings still exist today, like this wholesale fish market, which has now been converted into apartments. In fact, most of this area has retained a real Victorian feel, with the old mills and warehouses being turned into swanky apartments or even fine dining restaurants. And they have even still got an original Victorian police station, which now houses the police museum. The museum demonstrates just how much policing has changed over the last 2 centuries. This is one of the original cells in Newton Street Police Station. It's not very big, but apparently up to 12 people could be in here at one time. You just have a toilet in the corner and these very uncomfortable looking beds. I've got to say, Duncan, those beds aren't very comfortable.
No, they're not, are they really?
No.
Those are the actual ones the prisoners would have slept on all those years ago. Wooden pillows, wooden bed, not very comfortable at all.
And very cramped.
Yes, indeed. 12 people all crammed together on a busy Friday or Saturday night. Not a very nice place to be.
So it's obviously been here for years and years because this is the original building. But when did it open for the public?
We started opening it as a museum in 1981, and we've been expanding ever since, really. We now have the whole building as a museum and archive. This is our Magistrates' Court. This was rescued from Denton Police Station, not far from here. We managed to get it restored back to its original appearance and put into the museum here, so it's now one of our star attractions, really.
I bet there's a few stories to tell that you know from either historical references that you've had in here.
We do have a record we found of one lady her nickname was Nancy Dickiebird, and she managed to be arrested 176 times for being drunk and disorderly. She would have been fined or gone to prison on each occasion.
176 times?
176. This is a record so far, yes.
Yeah. Always wanted to do this. You're nicked. Oh. 10 years ago, local Manchester City Council commissioned a regeneration strategy here in the Northern Quarter. Since then, millions of pounds have been pouring into this area, the vision being to retain its individuality and build on its creative base.
25 years ago, the Northern Quarter was very different. I mean, the Manchester city centre was very different. I even feel that the weather was different somehow.
It's gone a bit cool as well. It's a bit cool now, Manchester. It likes itself a bit, thinks it's a bit smart.
There was a lot of empty warehouses, empty factories, even places where German bombs had been dropped on the city in the 1940s. Even they hadn't been regenerated.
But now, of course, this is its time. Trendy bars, new restaurants. To me, it still seems a bit bohemian, but there are lots of emerging and developing businesses there as well, and it's a very exciting time for that part of the city.
And if you want to know where the focal point of Manchester's world-renowned cultural industry sector is, then yes, you've guessed it, it's here. Come to the Northern Quarter and you will find a tranquil oasis amidst the busyness of the city centre in the form of the Manchester Buddhist Centre. It's been here for around 10 years and has introduced Buddhism and meditation to Manchester, but you don't have to be a Buddhist to come and enjoy it. I've walked past this place so many times and I've never ever been in, so what can I expect to find?
Well, welcome to the Manchester Buddhist Centre. My name is Moksha Jyoti. I happen to be the chairman here, but I also happen to be one of the teachers here.
So what are the principles of Buddhism?
For me, I would say Buddhism talks about change. That Buddhism offers you this great framework in which it sort of says by meditating you can become calmer, you can become kinder, you can become more compassionate by being aware, by developing an awareness.
And you can do that here at the Buddhist Centre?
You can come in, you can learn about Buddhism, you can read books, but you can also learn to meditate and learn about Buddhism in the shrine rooms.
I'd really love to see the shrine rooms because I've heard they're pretty spectacular.
Okay then, let's go and have a look. This is our small shrine room, probably half the size of the large shrine room, and what happens here is we probably about 30 people coming along every Tuesday to learn to meditate. For me, it's a public building in the city centre. It's an old Victorian building, built originally about sort of 1750, 1760. And we wanted to take it back to that original beauty. We wanted to make the most of second-hand goods because that, again, is a sort of quite an ethical or an ecological approach which a Buddhist would have. It can be available for anyone and everyone, really, as many people as possible.
Anyone is welcome to browse around the centre or even try a session of meditation for yourself. Sona, you've been teaching meditation for 25 years, and it's a word that we use an awful lot, but what does it actually mean?
Well, there are many different ways of explaining what meditation is, but the way in which we teach meditation here is probably best explained as being for the development of awareness, of mindfulness. We all live very busy lives, and it's so easy for us to get out of touch with different parts of our experience, feelings, thoughts and so on. When you practice meditation, it's a way of training the mind, if you like, to just come back to yourself. It's present moment awareness, so that you know what's going on with you in this present moment.
So what's the first thing I would need to do if I was to begin to meditate?
Okay, it's very important to find a posture, a way of sitting, so that you can sit still for 10, 20 minutes. And you're just allowing yourself to settle. And you can keep your eyes closed when you meditate. So you may like to just start by feeling, being aware of your body, having a sense of your body sitting on the cushion, sitting here. And then gradually you become aware that all the time you're breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out.
I do feel very relaxed now. The centre also has a vegan cafe and Bodywise for a complete holistic health service. So after a spot of meditation, I was keen for a little pampering, so I booked myself in for a session of shiatsu. That felt absolutely fantastic. Yes, I could just lay there all day actually. What is it that you were doing to me?
Japanese healing art. And it's very like acupuncture in the way that it works, but the technique's different. Massage, as far as I understand it, works on your skin and works with friction, and you usually use oil. So with shiatsu, you can do it with your clothes on, you do it fully clothed because you don't rely on friction. So you're relying on pressure.
Although I could quite happily lie here all day, there's no time to waste in discovering what else awaits me in the Northern Quarter. As aside from being a haven for relaxation, massage and meditation, the Northern Quarter is known as being the hub of creativity and has a thriving art scene. So this is where you will find some of the city's most talented designers and artists, and more unusual pieces of artwork. It's home to galleries such as the Chinese Art Centre, which houses exhibitions on the best of British and international Chinese art. And the Richard Goodhall Gallery, which exhibits exclusive artwork from renowned artists and photographers right across the world. So if you're looking for something unique and contemporary for your living room, then this place is a must. Richard, what brought you to the Northern Quarter?
Basically, I think it was the ambience of the place. I was looking around for a gallery for maybe 12 months. One Sunday morning I came here to the Northern Quarter and I just loved it immediately. We've been here now 7 years.
And a lot of your work seems to be based around music and entertainment figures, so lots of famous faces.
Yeah, it seems that we've become known for representing artists who do that kind of work. Here's a photographer called Lynn Goldsmith. That's a particularly famous image of Bruce Springsteen from 1978. These photographs here are by a Dutch photographer called Anton Corbijn. Anton is probably one of the most sought after photographers in the world.
And it's not just photographic work that you do here.
No, we do lots of other things actually, including these are rock and roll gig posters from America.
So is poster art quite popular now?
Very, very popular now. In fact, we're trying to work with English artists now. We're trying to bring this art form to the forefront in the UK.
And you've also got here some local bands as well.
I'm Clear of Manchester Band, yeah, that's Jay Ryan, who the band actually saw his artwork here in the gallery and they liked it. And they asked me if I could arrange for him to do their last album artwork and also the tour posters, which we did.
Now, if you like your art a bit more hands-on and love rooting around in craft markets, then this place, the Manchester Craft and Design Centre, is perfect, and it's based in a very old Grand Victorian building.
Because of the regeneration in the Northern Quarter, there's a lot more happening, a lot more people, a lot more buildings and more interest. And yeah, it's great for the college as well because we can advertise students' work here. Lots of students get employed from people, other designers, design companies coming in here and seeing their work.
The studios are rented out to local artists, designers, craftspeople who make and sell their own work.
Workers here deal in ceramics, textiles, jewellery, sculpture, carved wood and glassware. And you can even watch the designers at work.
It's been here for around about 25 years in its current form. The building itself is an old Victorian fish market and retains quite a lot of the old original features.
It's the best part of Manchester, I think, because you can come and do some shopping, you can get some really unusual pieces which aren't very expensive. You've got independent record shops, clothing designers, new independent shops and galleries springing up all the time, so you never know what you're going to find.
The Northern Quarter is well known for its diversity, and one area where it's really coming into its own is its diversity of food. Take your pick from Lebanese, fish and chips, soup kitchens, traditional greasy spoons, and if you're a curry fan, then you can get a great curry here for just a few pounds. But for somewhere to dine out, then the place to go is the Market Restaurant. Here since the 1980s, this is a swanky, small, friendly, family-run restaurant done out in a cosy, cottagey style. It's the original Northern Quarter restaurant. Mary Rose, that looks very good.
Yes, I'm just making up one of our favourite vegetarian dishes, parsnips mully parkin, and it's very popular with all our vegetarian customers. It's tomatoes and parsnips and Gruyere cheese, and apparently it was named after Molly Parkin, she writes racy novels. Apparently she hated parsnips. This is the only way she'd ever eat them. So you layer up. I put in parsnips there, It's a layer of tomatoes, a bit of cream. I'm just about to put some Gruyere cheese on top now.
I've just been reading your menu. You do some really unusual dishes here.
Yes, well, we've been here for 25 years and I've always been interested in cooking, and I think we normally suggest say modern British, so it's very eclectic.
And does your menu stay the same?
No, we change it about once every 5 or 6 weeks, so it's seasonal, which is nice. So you're always cooking, hopefully, food that's in season and is fresh.
And you are famed for your puddings, my favourite.
That's right, because we have a pudding club. And in fact, we also have a starters club. We do both ideas sort of thing, so people can either pick out on puddings or nibble lots of starters. But this month we've got a particularly luxurious one, chocolate pavlova, it's chocolate flavoured with little chunks of chocolate in it. And then on top of that you've got white chocolate cream, and then you've got a really dark chocolate sauce.
This restaurant has won loads of top food awards, and I'd recommend booking before you come in because they can get very busy. It'll set you back about £35 for a 3-course meal per person with wine, and I definitely recommend the chocolate pavlova. As they say, a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips. So, time to work it off. And as all girls know, the best form of exercise is shopping. Although the Northern Quarter is set back from the main shopping area, in post-war years it was the place to shop, and this street, Oldham Street in particular, was the place to go.
Oldham Street had been a very important shopping street in Manchester. And then when the Arndale had been built in the early 1970s, a lot of the big stores had gone there and all the shoppers had gone there because it was, it was the Trafford centre of its day, the Arndale.
But what this did do was allow the area to become a city fringe, home to the small creative businesses excluded from other parts of the city centre. Now Oldham Street and Tib Street is full of designer bars and cafes and nationally recognised record shops.
I mean, Tib Street was quite a totally different street then, but it was known for the pet shops there, and people used to go to Tib Street either to buy stuff from the Army and Navy stores or to buy budgies.
Every pet shop in Manchester was on Tib Street, and I remember going in once. We thought this was hilarious when we were kids. We'd go in probably every Saturday, go into town, go into a different pet shop each day and say, please can we buy a wasp? And they said, we don't sell wasps. I said, well, you've got one in the window, and run out.
Now, when you think of fashion, you think New York, Paris, Milan, but Manchester? Well, Manchester used to be known as the Cottonopolis, the textile capital of the world. And what's now known as the Northern Quarter was at the very heart of that. It has created some great fashions, and with great fashion came a great music scene and a great nightlife. So after a very relaxing morning, I think it's time to find out if this place still lives up to its reputation.
The Manchester scene was a little bit schizophrenic in a way, because on the one hand, part of the scene, a very important part of the scene, was house music. Manchester was about bands like Happy Mondays and Stone Roses. Some of them were they were indie bands, but they were influenced by that kind of house music and by the whole experience of going to clubs. And it was kind of down to, Affleck's Palace, Eastern Bloc, Dry Bar, and this particular area. It was down to this area where people would hang out.
And the one place which sums up everything the Northern Quarter stands for, where during the Manchester music phenomenon of the 80s and 90s was the place to come to buy those all-important flares, was Affleck's Palace. Affleck's Palace is one of the most famous shopping arcades in Europe. For the last 25 years, it's been a magnet for tourists and a meeting place for Manchester students.
God, I used to collect flyers from there and stick them all over my bedroom wall.
Really?
Yeah.
I still have the best trousers I ever bought from Affleck's Palace.
We're a bit old now for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure I've still got them in a shoebox somewhere.
I remember Whitworth Street in Eastern Bloc and Affleck's Palace, which I just spent all Saturday in, and then I used to go to Dry Bar and think I was really, really posh.
But I remember being quite sort of frightened at some of the clothes that they had in there.
Yeah, some of it's really weird,
isn't it?
But if you pick the slightly less weird stuff.
And it's individual as well. If you get something from there, not everybody's going to have it.
This is where many of the trendsetters in Manchester come before hitting the bars. And one man who knows that all too well is owner of the cafe here, Mike Walker.
it's about fashion. It's about being alternative. It's about expressing yourself. Affleck has always encouraged that through everybody, through the people that have had units in here, and for people that are looking for something a little bit different rather than the high street.
And Affleck is the most probably prominent landmark that I can certainly remember.
A lot of people stayed in here a long time. They've managed to build up a customer base, and they know that they are here. Everybody in the building seems to have their own niche, and whether it's Indian arts and crafts or handmade clothing, new designers come through Affleck's Palace year after year. Some make it and go on to bigger and better things. But some people establish themselves within Affleck's Palace and have stayed, and they've been here for years.
What would you say to people then that have never been to Affleck's, maybe you've never been to Manchester? Why would you say to them, come here to Affleck's?
I mean, you've got the goth culture and the mosher culture and the punks, and you've still got the 70s, the retro culture, which has all come round again now. I always say to people, if they're coming to Affleck's Palace, you'll find everything you never thought of. There's nothing like Affleck's Palace. There never has been, and I don't think there ever will be. There's a lot of famous people that have come and gone from this building, and it's a starting point for everybody. And it's just a matter of digging our feet in and trying to keep ourselves here.
You could spend hours in the rabbit warren of stalls on all 4 floors. With a relaxing, laid-back atmosphere and funky decor, it's definitely an experience. From unique funky club wear to more sophisticated vintage wear, tarot reading and tattooists, there's something here for everyone, and maybe something to help you find the inner you. It's that night when the Northern Quarter really comes alive. It's packed full of ultra cool bars. In fact, the Dry Bar opened its doors back in 1989, and this area has some of the oldest pubs in the city. But one of the newest bars here is the Odd Bar, which is well known for its range of quirky beers and kitsch decor. And when owner Cleo invited me in for a sample session, I was only too happy to help out. Oh, Cleo, you've given me a fair few beers to get through.
Well, we've got loads here at the moment, and what we wanted to do was just get a load from around the world. We've got this one here's quite different. That one's from Estonia, which is lovely because of the bottle.
Oh yeah, it's quite unusual.
It's really nice. It's sort of not that strong, but it's a really nice smooth beer, but everyone likes to try it because of the bottle, as I say.
I bet everyone nicks the bottles, don't they?
They do. All the bottles go. We get loads of people sticking candles in them and that sort of thing. Try this one. This is very popular with ladies at the moment. It's the strawberry Fruity, and it's absolutely lovely.
Oh wow!
I know, it's good, that one, isn't it?
It tastes like a smoothie, but quite alcoholic.
Yes, it is. It's really nice. We'll let you try Quack.
Oh no! That's a very strong one.
This is strong, so I'll just pour you some here. This has to go in one of these weird and wonderful glasses. So I really like that. Do you like that? It's quite a strong malty taste.
It is very malty taste.
No, it's an acquired taste.
I couldn't drink a lot of that.
And then this is a German beer as well, which is another fruit beer, which is brilliant with the cork that you pop off and all that. And that's a raspberry one with.
And do you get people coming in asking for?
Oh yeah, these are really popular. All the fruit beers are now flying up. They've become quite trendy now. Ooh. There you go. This is my favourite one.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah, you like that one.
Right, try it compared to this one.
Taste it.
That's a lot more creamy.
Yeah.
This is a lot more sharp.
Yes.
I like them both. Do you want,
yeah, I'll have something.
Yeah, so I'm just nicking it all. Now, if you don't fancy a night out on the beer, but maybe fancy something a little bit different, you'd be hard pushed not to find something to do here. If you want a night of laughs, then the Frog and Bucket is the oldest comedy venue in Manchester, where the likes of Peter Kay, Caroline Aherne, Johnny Vegas started out their careers, where you'll find the next new generation of comedy talent.
It's got everything, hasn't it? Everything's going on there at the moment, and it's just sort of coming to life, but you've got bars, nice bars, not rubbish bars, you've got nice pubs, you've got the Frog and Bucket, the oldest comedy club in Manchester.
You've got the best jazz club in Manchester, which is Matt and Fred's. You've got the best clothing shops, which is the Piccadilly section. You've got the best record shops, you've got Piccadilly, you've got Eastern Bloc, you've got Fat City Records based here, which that's why the Northern Quarter is one of the best places in Manchester to spend any minute of your day.
For a more more refined night out, then there's Matt and Fred's Jazz Club, which is one of the few dedicated jazz clubs in the north. Nice crowd, good wine and great music. But if you're a bit of a mover and shaker, then why not try out those salsa moves at Copacabana? Dancing goes on here until the early hours of the morning, and you'll never go short of a dancing partner. It's safe to say this really is the quarter of Manchester that never sleeps. Next week on I Love Manchester, I visit the comedy town of the north, the home of Peter Kay and setting for Phoenix Nights, the town of Bolton.